What's the most elaborate scam you fell for? I had a Visa gift card for 00 I got for my birthday and wanted to check the balance after a few purchases online. I look up check Visa gift card balance and clicked on the first thing I saw. I'm ashamed to say that I've been there too. It sucked even more because I work in tech. Just so others know, in case they already don't, there is usually a legit website printed on the back of the gift card that you can go to safely and check the card balance. Oh boy, I still cringe about that. Back in the late 90s, early zeros when chat rooms were popular, I met this guy there and we ended up chatting pretty much daily. He had an unusual name for the region. That should have been the first clue. We chatted and sent letters to each other by actual post. Tried to meet up with him so many times, but he always had something come up. One night on New Year's Eve when we were supposed to meet finally, his cousin shows up and said yeah he'll come soon. He told me to wait here with you. Pretended to call him several times to ask where he was. An hour or so later I just went back home and never talked to the guy again. Turned out the cousin was the guy I was chatting with and he had made a deal with another guy to see how long I would believe all this. I can't believe I fell for it. Keep in mind I was 16 something back then. Sounds like the dude wasted just as much time as you did. I was worried he did something to you though. Don't cringe too much about it. Did he really have a deal with another guy? Or was he trying to save his ego after you left the cousin? Clearly the dude was a loser. But I could see it being he showed up as the cousin and still couldn't admit to his lie so he just piled on with the lie about it was just some deal he made. I traded this guy my full rune armor because he said he could trim it for me. RuneScape as a kid taught me never to trust anybody. That game taught me two nice things. To type fast on the keyboard and trust no one. I don't know if it's necessarily the most elaborate scam of all time, but there are a range of fake sites online that offer ESTA visa for entry into the US. The funny thing about the sites is that they actually process your visa, but they just do it by sending your details to the official site and charging you $100 or so of idiot tax. I got caught a few years back and I wasn't even really mad. It was such an amazingly set up grift. And what made it even better was that you really had no recourse because they were actually giving you what you paid for. The very first ever internet spam was a couple of lawyers, Cantor and Siegel, who did that. Advertised everywhere to help people get their green cards. And all they did was fill in the forms for you. $100 to not deal with US bureaucracy? That doesn't sound like a terrible deal. Some people pay more than that every year to file their taxes. I put a room up for rent once. Someone applied and said they would be moving in at the first of the month. They said they were military and switching bases. This person said they were going to go ahead and ship their car out and fly in. The car arrived and was offloaded by truck. A few days later the car was gone. The person never arrived. A month or so later the police knocked and asked about the car. Ended up being that the car was stolen by whoever this person was that shipped it and the person who picked it up was a buyer who thought it was legit. Apparently he had a set of keys mailed to him and a fake title. IDK if it ever got sorted but they initially assumed that I was a part of it. This is the best scam on this post so far thank you. I don't understand the purpose of fake renting a room. Steal a car. Ship it far away. Make fake papers. Why the rental? On my first trip to San Francisco, some guy stopped me and asked the time. He mentioned he was late to the sold out Metallica concert, which was happening that night. We got to talking, and he said he had a hookup and could probably get me into the show. So, I said sure. We hung out most of the day, visiting some tourist areas. We talked about Metallica, music, and just got to know each other. When we got to the venue, he said he needed $0 to get the wristband. Now, we had been hanging out all day, so, without thinking, I gave him the $0, and he headed to the box office. The minute he was out of sight, I realized it was all a scam. He never came back. It was a super elaborate scam, because he spent like 4 hours with me, just to make $0. But, ever since then, I never talk to strangers, especially in a big city. If a stranger approaches me, I just keep walking and don't reply. There are people out there who will pay much more than $0 to have a friend for 4 hours. How was he late to the concert if it wasn't for 4 hours? My cousin was touring San Fran and bought $0 worth of flour from a random guy who he thought was a coke dealer. That's okay. I once bought what I thought was weed from a guy in a Vegas casino. He shows me the bag quickly. I see some nice dense green buds. We make the exchange in the men's bathroom and I quickly shove it in my pocket. When I go to look at my newly acquired buds, it turned out it was just crumpled up green paper. This isn't elaborate, but I was just dumb. So maybe a year ago the landline gets a call and I answer, and it's some Indian man asking me to confirm a purchase on Amazon of a 00 iPhone. This is something I'm thinking my brother bought because his phone broke a day before and he's buying it with my mother's account. So I'm telling the guy, no, don't buy it, cancel it. I'm telling him my mom isn't home and just wait for now. He keeps on saying no, we have to do it right now because his store will close on Mayo. Gosh, I'm so dumb. Anyways, so he tells me to get on Amazon, and so I go get my mother's laptop and I open Amazon and I say we have no order history, and he's getting mad at me because I'm not fast enough and he needs the billing information and such. My 12-year-old brother comes and asks who I'm talking to, and I'm like, I think our other brother bought a phone for 00 and we need to stop it. And he's like, you're so dumb, ask for the manager. And I was like, can I speak to the manager? And the scam guy says okay, let me get her, and not even a second later the same guy using a woman's voice says hello. It was the same Indian man using the girl voice, and then I realized how dumb I was. Gosh, IDK, I'm blonde and it shows. I mean, hey, you didn't fall for it in the end and you came away with a good story to tell. At least your brother saved you. A phone call just as I graduated high school, I nearly fell for it. I was maybe 17-18 years old, still looking for a job. The call goes as this. Hi, my name is John Doe, and I am with the FBI. We have a warrant out for your arrest. I'm terrified because it sounded real, so I kept listening. It seems you owe $59.27 in taxes. You may call the IRS, or you may mail it to somewhere to sort the issue. My heart was racing because either I was wanted for tax evasion before my first job. I asked my dad what I should do and he told me to call the local sheriff's department, so I did. I was relieved to hear that I didn't have a warrant and that it was a scam. You'll see a mountain of letters from the IRS before anything else happens. They'll never call you. In the late 50s or early 60s, some guy came into my grandpa's shop selling color TVs out of the back of a truck. The family had never had a color TV, and the price was way less than what a store charged. So he bought one. He excitedly brought it home, plugged it in and turned it on. Black and white. He played with the knobs and antenna. Nothing. No color. The guy took a bunch of old black and white TVs, slapped a rainbow sticker on them, and sold them as color. Brilliant. Well into the 90s it was still common to see motels with lighted signs saying color TV, with each letter a different bright saturated color. Advertisers and scammers identify and exploit a human mind hack. A website faked itself as official passport department. I filled the forms for passport update there, made payment and all, and in the end realized it was fake. Never got the money back. Always check the URL. The website didn't fake itself. When I was around 12, I really enjoyed playing FIFA Ultimate Team, which I'm sure many others do. However, the game at that point did take quite a bit of grinding to get a lot of in-game currency, so I downloaded like 7 of them on the internet, tried transferring coins to my account, and got 7 viruses. What a shocker. My ex's entire personality. I think a lot of us had that one guy who we would lend video games to, just so that he can ignore us and keep the game afterwards. It's not much, but it still hurts, man. This one hits deep. Also with books. I've had a few friends borrow VHS and DVD movies from me. I got them back finally. You brought it today? Oh, I watched it yesterday, and I just wanted to see the rest. I'll bring it tomorrow. Okay. When I was 18 or 19 I was a front-end supervisor at a local chain drugstore. Shoplifting was a pretty big issue, so we were always watching. An old man came in once to return 2 packages of Polaroid film cartridges, which were like $5 each. It seemed pretty clear that he had taken them off the shelf and brought them to the counter because I could see where he ripped the security tags off. This guy was definitely a pro though. He immediately asked my name, and alternated between being super nice, calling me by name and playing the sweet confused old man, and yelling, "Why are you doing this to me?" He kept saying he bought the wrong type, so I told him we couldn't issue a cash refund, but could do an even exchange. He went and got 2 more, slightly different packs of film, Did his alternating between nice and angry routines, still trying to get cash. Then finally accepted the exchange and left. That's when I realized he just put the 2 new packs of film in the bag with the 2 he wanted to return and walked out with 4. He caused enough commotion that I completely missed it. Still pisses me off 25 years later. The caused enough commotion is everything. That's how people flim-flam cashiers into making change for a 0 and they leave with the 0 and the change. My wife manages a consignment store, and one of her employees fell for this. Guy calls and says he is Washington State Police. We live in Texas, and that the store is being investigated for tax fraud. The girl that answered is 16-17, and fairly sheltered, so she is immediately freaked out. WSP guy says if she doesn't cooperate she would be added as an accomplice, and such. But she could just get the whole issue resolved. All she had to do is get K out the safe. Girl was a key holder, so she does have access to the safe, and go to Walmart. Get 200 Visa gift cards and give them the numbers to pay the back tax. Then all is fine. Dingbat did it. Told the other workers she was taking her break. Took the cash. Got the cards and read off the numbers to the dude. The goddamn gift card method for scammers should be taught in schools so people stop falling for it. It's absolutely insane how many people don't immediately realize it's a scam, considering that scammers are the only people who want to get money that way. This is just so freaking hilarious that a 17-year-old would fall for this. This sort of scam was obvious to me as a 10-year-old playing RuneScape. No government official wants a Walmart card. As a kid I fell for a fake Neopets login page. Ugh. Lost all my Neo points that day. That's truly tragic, my friend. That sounds like a lot of work to make a fake login page for Neo points. Were they maybe targeting accounts with credit card info attached? Or were they really that desperate for the Neo points? Much like most people here, I don't really know how elaborate this is. And I technically did not get fully scammed, but it was one of those job interview scams where they take you to another platform to conduct it. It was for a job I had recently applied for. I get a text and I had no reason to doubt it since I was on a job hunt, and for some reason they were able to determine the position I wanted. They mentioned that I would need to download a messaging app to conduct a chat interview. Did everything they asked. Even the whole come back tomorrow for the continuation. Essentially, the scam is they make you go through that whole process and get you to give your direct deposit, aka bank, information for your paycheck. I almost fell for it too and was almost going to send it until I had a gut feeling because the pay was way too good to be true. I contacted the actual company and they fortunately emailed back and said there have been many scams recently and that the text I got was one of them. I'm usually very good at avoiding scams, but I guess I was desperate and almost fell for one.